I just thank God every day that Sheila sent Bruce and Joe, down there to Craig County and to film the trial and capture it so everybody could see what was happening to us, so everybody could, rally and, cry for justice and, eventually get the doors open for us to get us free now.
But originally, we thought we were going down to make a film about guilty teenagers. I mean, that was the mission. We arrived days after the arrest. We were there for 8 months before the trials began, really embedded ourselves in the community.
Yeah.
And, the first couple of months we mainly spent with the parents of the victims who hated these people, as you can see from the films, and especially from the first film. But when we finally negotiated access to these guys and we did our first interviews, it's like a light bulb went off, like, this is not right.
Well, they came and got me on my last day of school for the 10th grade and never let me go until just this past year in August. So, it just kept stretching on and on with every appeal. Every time we file something and you look at it and our stuff would be right, our evidence would be on our side, the law would be on our side, but then the judge would just totally rule contrary.
One of the reasons this case dragged on so long is that the original trial judge was allowed to hear all the appeals, which is so counterintuitive to the appellate process. It's legal in Arkansas and some states that the original trial judge can sit on the appeals, but it's illogical, as if the original trial judge during the appeals is going to determine that they didn't receive a fair trial at the beginning. It was ludicrous. We decided with this third film, which we started in 2004, that we would wait for the right moment where we really felt it would be critical, that it could help. And that right moment came, the history of this case has been Judge Burnett denying every appeal, dozens of appeals on all sorts of issues, and then the Arkansas Supreme Court affirming those denials. That's just the way it's been. And for the first time in the history of this case, the hearing that you see in the film was a huge watershed moment for what developed, which was the Arkansas Supreme Court for the first time actually agreed with Eccles' lawyers, saying, no, the DNA evidence actually is quite compelling. You can have an evidentiary hearing, and by the way, the statute means not that you can only present the evidence of guilt, but all the evidence that has been uncovered in the last 17 years, and they set this hearing for December of 2011, which is what we all were thinking was going to happen. And so we said, HBO, and we said, okay, the advocacy can really help now. We are going to finish this film and broadcast it in November of 2011, which we obviously things have changed, but we were going to broadcast it in November, a few weeks before the evidentiary hearing, to put Arkansas on notice that, hey, the world is watching. This is some of the new evidence that they're going to talk about, and you better take this seriously, because a lot of people care about this case. So that's why we were in this bizarre position of, we had the finished film. We had already been invited to Toronto and New York because we had a short festival window, and we were going to broadcast in November. We were literally, it was like August 16th. It was the final week of post-production. We were in the final throes of mixing and color correcting, and we were going to press eject on a finished master at the end of the week when we got the phone call that these guys might, we weren't told what, they were precluded from telling us exactly what was going down, but the guy from the defense team said, it's as big as it gets.
Yeah, it took 18 years. At the time I was 16, so that was over 50% of my life. And you got to think, in your early years, how much of your earliest years do you remember? Do you remember your first 4? So it's just great to be here now.
Great to see you.